Hi students, hopefully by now you have watched the how to navigate the course website video, so you have a good idea as to how this particular class website is going to be set up for you. What I'd like to do right now is talk with you a little bit about your final paper assignment as well as your final presentation assignment. And as you have probably already seen here in this top box, there's a heading that says Final Project Information. This first link talks about your final paper assignment, and so I'm going to go ahead and pull that document up so we can spend just a few minutes reviewing it here. Okay, so what you can see here on this paper, I've got an overview here at the top, which basically talks with you about how over the course of the semester you're going to be learning about many different university resources that will assist you in your survival and hopefully in your success as a student here at Southeast. You're going to engage in the process of research, and you're going to learn how to connect and then incorporate different ideas and concepts. And so the purpose of this paper is to research and communicate in writing your understanding of one first-year student issue. And your paper should include the following. And so I have all of the paper requirements listed here. Okay. So as you can see, you need to have an introduction to your paper. This is where you're going to basically give me the thesis of your paper. You're going to set the paper up for me. You're going to tell me what you're going to be talking about. Assume that I am stupid. Okay, and so you need to make sure that you're very, very clear in your writing and making sure that that you're providing me with information on what it is you're going to be spending time on in the paper. So that's related to the first paragraph of your paper. For the body of your paper, you need to have a discussion section, and this is where you are going to discuss the issue that you've chosen, and you need to talk about why a student should be aware of this chosen issue. And so I really think that this is probably the best section to incorporate some of the research that you found. So if you decide, for example, to talk about financial literacy as an issue that college students are facing, and that is one of the topics you can choose. You decide to talk about that, and maybe you find information on how many students in Missouri, for example, default on their student loans, or how many people nationwide do that. Maybe what's the average amount that students take out in student loans, and why that might be concerning. And so those are the types of things that you probably want to include in your discussion section. After that, I want you to talk about your personal plan. So I'm assuming that you will choose a topic that is of interest to you. And let's say, for example, that you choose academic advising. And I want you to talk about your personal plan for success as it relates to that chosen issue. So if you've chosen academic advising, I'd like for you to put together a plan in your paper, and you can do it in paragraph form, and talk about how it is that you are going to go about making sure that you are taking advantage of all the resources that are available to you with regards to academic advising. What are all the different things that academic advisors can do for you, and how do you think that that will benefit you personally? The last section in the body of the paper is the advice section. And so I want you to talk about what advice you would give to an incoming student on how to be successful with that particular issue. And so if you choose campus involvement as a topic, you might want to talk about why you think it's important for students to be involved in different ways on campus, how that can benefit them, both while they're a student here and then perhaps after graduation. So I want you to think about what advice you would give to a student. I want you to make sure that you're very clear in your paper about the fact that you're talking about your discussion section, that you're talking about your personal plan, that you're talking about your advice, and then you need to round everything out with a conclusion. Make sure that you have all 5 of those areas in your paper, and I'm going to show you the rubric here in a moment, and you'll see why, because you will be scored in each of those areas. So I have pre-selected some issues for you. I've pre-selected these based on 2 reasons. The first reason is that I know that many of these are something that students, in particular first-year students, tend to deal with. But I also know that there's quite a bit of research out there on these topics, and so it will be relatively easy for you to get the research that you need. So these are the different topics that I have. I want you to take a look at these. If you look at these topics and you think, I'd actually really like to focus on a different topic, and I think that I can cover all of these areas if I do that. You need to get approval from me before you can move forward on that topic. Okay, so don't just assume that you can talk about something that isn't on this list. You have to get approval from me to do that. What I'd like for you to do is the paper needs to be about 4 pages long, double spaced. You must use MLA style formatting, and we're going to be talking more about that in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the semester. But just make sure that you have all of these things here that I have indicated that you need with regards to MLA style formatting. Your works cited page does not count towards your 4 pages. You have to include at least one source from a book, a journal, a magazine, a newspaper article found in Kent Library, or on one of the library subscription databases. If you are not yet familiar with the library subscription databases, I think in week 3 or week 4, we're going to be doing an assignment specifically related to that. So you will be introduced to those early on here in the semester. Your primary source may not be from Google. So do not go out to Google, type in your topic, and then try to incorporate the first thing that you find. Part of the objectives of this class and of this assignment is to make sure that you know how to conduct appropriate academic research. And so if you go out and find something from Google, that's really going to hurt you on this paper. What you're going to be doing during week 10 of the semester, you will submit your paper topic to me via a forum posting. You'll just tell me what topic you're going to be covering. That way I know that you've been thinking about this assignment. And then your final paper should be uploaded to the link that says Final Paper under the Assignments heading on week 15, okay? And so the paper should be uploaded no later than 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, December 6th. If you miss the deadline, you must contact me because you won't be able to upload the paper. Any late submissions will result in an automatic deduction of 30 points. This paper is worth 100 points. If you submit it late, even if it's the next day, even if it's the next morning, I'm going to take 30 points off, which already brings you down to a 70%, and I haven't even graded it yet. So I'm talking to you about this assignment here the first week of class, and so there is no reason for you to be late on this paper. Any paper received more than 48 hours after the original due date will receive a 0 score, and no exceptions will be made, okay? I do have a rubric here of the paper. Like I said, the paper is worth 100 points, and I've given you information here on how many points each section will be weighted and how many points each will receive. So I'm going to be looking at all 5 of those components that I laid out at the top of the assignment sheet. I'll also be looking at cohesiveness, spelling and grammar, your sources, and then also that you followed MLA style formatting. So it's your responsibility to make sure you are familiar with this assignment sheet. Please make sure that you take the time to review this. And so then I wanted to very briefly go over the final presentation assignment. Your final presentation will also be over the same topic that you've written your paper on. You absolutely should not read your paper as part of this presentation, okay? Don't think, oh, I can write the paper, then I just go read off the paper in front of a webcam. I'm going to read your paper, so I'll know what your paper will say. And I do not want you to read strictly from your paper for this particular assignment. And so the purpose of this presentation is for you to demonstrate your oral communication skills for your instructor and your classmates, and to summarize the research from your university survival paper. This is also worth 100 points. Presentations should be uploaded to the Week 15 forum, and I've got some instructions below for you. No later than 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, December 6th. If you miss the deadline, you have to contact me. I'll take 70 or 30 points off if you submit it within 48 hours. No presentations will be accepted after 48 hours, and again, no exceptions will be made. So what I want you to do is to prepare a 3 to 4 minute presentation where you will share information from your research paper. Your video that you submit should not exceed 4 minutes. I will stop watching the video at the 4 minute mark. Okay, I had to sort of implement this because I told students in the past that I want 3 to 4 minutes, and I had students who would submit 15 to 20 minute speeches, and I simply don't have time to sit and watch that many that are that long. So I'm going to stop watching at 4 minutes. You really should be able to cover what you need in 4 minutes. So your presentations need to include the same information that your paper has, but I want you to sort of listen about how I want this. In terms of your introduction, obviously you're going to set your presentation up, tell us what you're going to tell us, share with us why a student should be aware of the topic. You also need to include a personal plan and advice. It's been my experience that when students are writing their paper, because they're trying to keep their paper around 4 pages as well, that sometimes they want to include like lots of personal stories, maybe of things that happened to them or to a friend of theirs. This presentation is kind of an opportunity for you to share some of those personal anecdotes that maybe you weren't able to fit in your paper. You still need to cover the same types of things, including in your discussion, you do have to have a personal plan, you do need to share some advice, and you do need to conclude your presentation. So I don't want you to share your advice and then go, okay, that's it, and then shut off your camera. All right? I want you to make sure that you conclude your presentation appropriately. As I said, you should not read directly from your research paper. This presentation should be considered formal, so proper attire is required and factored into your final grade. So don't wear workout attire, don't wear ball caps, don't wear t-shirts, don't chew gum. You need to look appropriate, as if you're giving an appropriate presentation. Wear what you would wear if you were doing this in a face-to-face class situation. I have information here on how to upload your presentation. So you have to videotape yourself. I would really prefer that you use a webcam if you have one, because the quality will be better. If you don't, you can use a tablet or you can use a phone if you need to do that. You need to upload your completed presentation to YouTube. If you don't yet have an account for YouTube, you need to go create one. It is free. When you upload your presentation, you can set it, there'll be a settings section. You can set it as unlisted so that only the people who have the link will be able to view the presentation. It won't be public. Do not set it to private or I will not be able to see it, okay? So you can set it to unlisted or public. Do not set it as private. If you have never uploaded a video to YouTube, if that is not a website that you are familiar with, I would strongly encourage you to play around with it before submitting your final video. I don't want you to get into a situation where you can't figure it out a couple of nights before the assignment's due, and then you're just not able to turn in your presentation, okay? So fiddle around with this over the course of the semester. You have plenty of time. What you'll be able to do once your video is uploaded, you'll click the share option on your video there in YouTube, copy the link, and then you just paste the link into the forum posting under week 15 that says final presentation. Obviously, all your classmates will be able to see the links, and so I would encourage you to view all of your classmates' presentations. Feel free to comment and offer praise or constructive criticism. You will receive your presentation score through your forum posting, so your classmates won't be able to say, but you'll be able to see what your score was, and then I will actually then email you a copy of this rubric form with comments and individual scores in each section, and you should expect to receive that rubric. It'll be emailed to your Southeast email account no later than December 13th. Okay. Here's how you are going to be evaluated. This is the form that I'll be filling out, and so you can see how the points will be allotted. And it's worth a total of 100 points. So make sure that you are very familiar with both of these assignments before you proceed too far into the fall semester. But again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I'd be happy to help you out. Have a great day. Thanks.